When an individual want to adopt a vegan lifestyle, want to try a plant-based diet, one of the first questions that comes in his mind is, okay, but how can I replace all these ingredients, all these flavors that I've been accustomed to eat? The answer is it's only about habits. You just need to discover new ingredients and new flavors, learn how to cook these plant-based ingredients, and I'm sure that you will like it. But when I became vegan, one of the first questions that I made myself, that I asked myself, is, okay, I want to make a vegan version of a traditional dish. And in this dish, in this recipe, there is meat. So how can I substitute meat by using a plant-based ingredients? Meat is maybe one of the easiest ingredients to replace in a vegan diet. There are lots of plant-based food that can help us to replace meat. You can use dehydrated soy, you can use seitan, tofu, tempeh, beans. It depends on the role that meat has in that recipes. You can choose what plant-based ingredients used to replace meat by understanding the role that meat has in that recipes. For example, if you want to make meatballs, you can use legumes, you can use seitan, but maybe tempeh is not very indicated for meatballs. If you want to make a ragu, the most indicated ingredient is of course the hydrated soy. The same is for milk. You can substitute, you can replace cow milk by using a lot of plant-based alternatives, a lot of plant-based milk. Nowadays we have soy milk, almond milk, coconut milk, oat milk, but you can use all of this milk in the same way. Of course, there are recipes where is better to use soy milk, and there are recipes where coconut milk is better to use. For example, if you want to make a bechamel, you have to substitute, you have to replace the cow milk by using a neutral flavor milk. So I recommend you to use soy milk or oat milk. Of course, you can't use coconut milk because I don't think it's good to have a bechamel that reminds you of a coconut in a lasagna. Problems, I will say problems, comes when you have to replace eggs. Because there are a lot of plant-based alternatives that can help us to replace eggs, but it's very difficult to choose the right ingredients because, you know, if you choose the wrong ingredient, you can be sure that you will not obtain the result you want. For example, you can substitute, you can replace eggs by using cornstarch, by using potato starch, but also by using soy yogurt. And if you think that you want to make, I don't know, a muffin or a sponge cake, okay, you can use soy yogurt. But if you want to make an omelette or fresh made pasta, of course you can use soy yogurt. So you have to understanding the role that eggs has in that recipe, in the original recipe. For example, in a sponge cake, eggs are using for mixing, for blending all the ingredients, but also for leavening the sponge cake. So what are the ingredients that can help us to obtain that result, that kind of result? Of course, you can use soy yogurt for mixing the ingredients. You can use a cornstarch for make a softer cake, but you have to use also baking powder to obtain a leavened product. You can use mung beans, you can use chickpea flours, you can use lupin flours to obtain an omelette. And also you can use a strange ingredient that is very used in the vegan cuisine that help us to replicate the flavors of the eggs. And this is the Kala Namak salt. It's a sulfurous salt that reminds us the flavors, the smell of eggs. But this is not essential to obtain the best result in a recipe. It's about your choice if you want to use it or not. Other ways to replicate traditional dishes is about techniques. There are 4 techniques that I suggest you, that I recommend you to use in a vegan cuisine, and we will learn about it in the next lessons. These techniques are roasting, marinating, spicing, and fermenting. Roasting is for enhance the natural sweetness of vegetables. Marinating helps us to elevate the taste of vegetables and legumes, but also tofu, for example, or seitan. If we want to, I don't know, make maybe one of the most famous Italian dish, that is the carbonara. And if you want to make a plant-based bacon, we just need to marinate tofu by using soy sauce, oil, spices such as paprika or garlic. And this technique helps us to replace the bacon flavor, the taste of bacon, by using only plant-based ingredients. Spicing, as I said before, just incorporating herbs and spice in a dish will help us to achieve umami flavors. And fermenting, that is a technique very used in a plant-based cuisine, and is maybe the most used technique for making plant-based cheese. Okay guys, now that we have done with the introduction part, and after having talked about the origin of vegan culture, the most common used plant-based ingredients and their role, the most famous techniques, the most useful techniques, and also all the job opportunities that this course will give you, now I'll leave you a short test just to confirm that you are understanding and that everything is clear to you. So we can finally move on the practical part of this course, where you can start preparing delicious vegan dishes. Just to be clear, I want you to know that the test has no value to the final purpose of the course. It is just for you to understanding that you are learning in the right way all the informations I am giving to you. After you finish the test, you can put on your kitchen apron and let's cook together.